Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders and Initiative by World Development Corporation. My name is Tanay All, and I'm an anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is the platform for industry veterans to come together to share their knowledge, ideas, thoughts, and best practices with one another, as well as with upcoming future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings of all our industry stalwarts. We hope that by bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we can truly create a global community of eminent personalities. We basically hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other great leaders. As great learnings from great leaders help everyone, right? They help us identify, nurture, and work on trade secrets that have already proven a success formula for so many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such industry stalwart on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Chandra Prakash Singh. We welcome you on the show, sir.
Thank you.
As a seasoned senior management professional, he has a remarkable career spanning over 2.5 decades. His expertise covers a wide range of domains, including general management, program management, sales, business development, strategy, M&A, digital energy, IoT, smart grid, key account management, leadership, and channel management. He has exhibited an exceptional ability to expand businesses and consistently improve profitability, identifying new revenue streams for long-term growth. At present, he is serving in the capacity of Vice President, overseeing the business development aspect of the wires and cables portfolio of KEI Industries Limited. So, Mr. Chandra Prakash Singh, to begin with, could you provide an overview of your career journey, highlighting the key milestones and achievements that have shaped your professional path?
So thank you, Tanay, for giving this platform, and pleased to meet with you. So you have very well articulated my introduction. So let me begin with my engineering. I did my engineering in electrical and electronics from National Institute of Technology, Warangal, and had two management courses from IIM Bangalore and National University of Singapore. Then I began my career from Kirloskar Electric Company Limited. And that is where the first change came in the thought process and the biggest learning that I realized that I wanted to be in hardcore electrical company. But later on, when I went there, I realized that as such, there is nothing hardcore electrical engineering being done here in India. So I'm talking about 96. So slowly we transformed, we changed ourselves, and then I moved into the sales and marketing function within the Kirloskar Electric, having gone through the different technical design aspects of the different product portfolios offered by Kirloskar Electric, ranging into transformers, motors, alternators, switch gears. And then I moved to their sales office of erstwhile United Uttar Pradesh, including Uttarakhand of today at Kanpur. And that is where I had my biggest learning of my life. So I had to travel a lot across different geographies of Uttar Pradesh and do a technical sales and marketing. So basically, it also included areas like Sonbhadra, which is known as a power capital. A lot of coal mines are there, and there I was exposed to how a young engineer could basically use the knowledge acquired in the engineering college and how the practical usage and application of that technology is going to be. And during that stint of close to 3 years in Kirloskar Electric, we had some major success with renowned customers like Hindalco Industries, National Thermal Power Corporation plants, and Northern Coalfield Limited. Now, over a period of 3 years, then I had the opportunity to join a very reputed multinational organization by the name Siemens Limited. And since 1999 May till May 2014, I spent close to 15 years within Siemens, working across different geographies in different roles, did a vertical growth, and then moved horizontally, and then altogether into a new business. So let me cover the initial 10 years journey of Siemens Limited, wherein, and again, I will club it with what kind of see, there are two kind of milestones. One is that professionally you say that you have achieved this much of sales or this much of P&L, this much of profitability, this key account conversion, retainment of customer, breaking the competition with a particular customer or in market segment. But I would also like to bring in the other element of, the personal challenges or the barriers that you cross and overcome, which make you a very good professional. So that element, unfortunately, is missed out during the discussion. But this is what I have learned hard way and naturally also, because I will take a little correlation with my studies of for initial 12 to 14 years when I did my 10 plus 2. So one of the biggest advantage I had was that I moved to different places when my parents were moving. And that somehow gave me unknowingly a very big advantage, which is adaptability, flexibility, adjusting with different cultures. And that naturally helped me in my professional career as well and in my social life. So I was asked to join at one place of Kanpur by Siemens Limited. I said, fine. But suddenly, when the regional headquarters in Delhi, where I went for joining, one day before, when I had to move to Kanpur back, everything was reserved, train ticket, everything. Your brokers were spoken with to find a house in Kanpur. Suddenly, I was told that you'll have to move to Shakti Nagar. And Shakti Nagar is one particular area in district Sonbhadra, bordering MP also, which is again the national capital of power. So almost more than 40,000 megawatt capacity of power installed is there. So I took a decision within 1 hour and I agreed. And I went and based myself instead of Shakti Nagar to Renukot. Now, here also, the quick decision making, adaptability came to my rescue and in the interest of organization. So, this balancing also needs to be done. Always, the individual needs should be placed below the organizational needs. And that is what kept me going in this tough competitive world of the corporate. So why I decided Renukut, because Hindalco Industries Limited, part of AV Birla Group, was coming with a very big expansion at that point of time worth INR 2000 crores. Being located at Renukut would have helped Siemens garner much larger business share because most of the attention was going to be spent at Hindalco. And that is how I based myself over there. And during those 2 years, the biggest achievements, some of them which I could relate, is one that we won more than 100 million worth of orders, which is nothing but approximately 10 crores during that time of year 1999 to period 2001, single-handedly from Hindalco Industries Limited. And then the additional businesses were there from power plants, coal mines, and the other business geographies that I was handling as a territory manager. So there was a big geography that was being handled. And we kind of broke the competition where, like, for example, certain products were not being sold by Siemens Limited with these customers. But due to persistent effort, technological, using all the technological ability, human interpersonal skills, and constant, consistent, persistent effort. That is how we could convert those customers. And obviously, it's a team effort because without the support of the team, whether from head office or some other stakeholders, no one individual can achieve the greater success in their career. Now, this territory manager experience also, let me briefly tell you, this was a rounded experience because right from inquiry generation up to the payment collection and the related regulatory matters like sales tax form collection, they were part of this particular role. And I, as territory manager within Siemens Limited, could deal with various stakeholders, including internal customers as well as external customers, channel management, and we could surpass our targets every year. Then I was, based on the stupendous performance, I was moved to a particular territory of Lucknow, And at the young age of around 26 years, I was also given additional responsibility of one young engineer who was based at another territory location of Kanpur. So here in 3 years stint from 2001 to 2004, approximately December 2004, I could, and those were the times when the economy was not very, kind of growing fast. It was kind of stagnant. No new projects were there. Mostly it was you had to do with existing customers. You had to kind of dig up the well and then fetch the water. That kind of scenario was there. So in again, it was a geographical area that was being covered individually by me and also supervising the another territory. The good part was that we could surpass again our targets every year consistently for the 3 years while operating from Lucknow. And some of the uh, major highlights were that, generating new businesses from some power plants, textile mills, metal plants, small size metal plants, and then sugar mills. Now, this this how this was possible, because it involved a lot of all these technical elements and the interpersonal relationship elements that I described you earlier. Along with that, extensive traveling was there, and those were the time when internet was sparse. Even the mobile connectivity was very poor. Incoming was also charged. So you had to do a lot of struggle, a lot of reading. You need to be prepared fully and take instant decision without any support practically. Even STD calls were difficult to be made. So all these successes made the management quite confident, and they brought me at the age of almost 29 to 30 years to head the outstation territories and complete channel management for northern India. And I was brought to the regional headquarters at Delhi. So within Siemens Limited, the concept was that there was only one regional headquarter and all other territory managers were operating from their residences. So this territory manager concept that I mentioned, I worked at 2 locations. So that is how it was. And coming back to Delhi, so from January 2004 till October, November 2007, I was based at Delhi, taking care of automation and rice business. So these 10 years that I mentioned is starting from May 99, and now I have come to 2007. So these products were low voltage switchgear, motors, drives, PLC, medium voltage motors, and then the solution based on this. So during last these close to 3.5 years, working as head of the Northern India and end-to-end business, including channel management, one of the biggest achievement was we could create more than 20 crore pati dealers, so millionaire dealers, channel partners. That was a big achievement during those time. And let me again remind that it was not that easy. Although the economy had started growing from 2005 or so, but having millionaire dealers, that itself was a big achievement. And these dealers were being fed the businesses by the Siemens engineers. So inquiries were generated by the engineers, converted into orders, and routed through the channel partners or the dealers. That was one of the biggest achievement, and we could also kind of create history in the northern India in terms of this electrical automation drives business with respect to competition. That all the major products projects that came during that particular period. So, for example, there were almost 20 sugar mills that came up, and out of those 20 sugar mills, we could grab 18 or 19 projects, all in favor of Siemens. So that was a kind of achievement. Likewise, motors, dies, PLC, similarly, paper plants, then textile mills in Punjab area, no Vardhaman group, then Nahar group, there were two Nahar groups. So they came up with certain expansions in Madhya Pradesh. So all these orders could be converted in Siemens' favor by exemplary leadership. Now we are talking about sales and marketing, but if you see, as an individual contributor, also you have to exhibit certain leadership skills that I described briefly during my stint in Kirloskar Electric and in Siemens initially from 99 to 2001 at Renukoot. and then managing the another engineer, or in this Northern India role of 13 engineers at the young age of 29, being led by me, that and almost 65 channel partners across Northern India and other related stakeholders. Last but not least, the our customers, those who were giving us orders. It was a very challenging task, and right from early stage, we not only exposure was there to all the elements, but we also learned many things, like what we today see is CSR or sustainability, or let us say now it term ESG is coined, or the other technologies that are coming up. So somehow, while working in diverse geographies, working in different with different products and solutions, we got exposed. Initially, we were not very sure what is this, what is CSR. For example, when we went to some customer, we realized that they have put up a camp. Now in that camp, some nearby local area people, because plants were in normally in very remote areas. Okay, so we did not realize what is this happening and why they are doing it. So some needy people used to come to those camps for either for some medicine or eye testing and this that etc. We also saw that the certain kind of nothing was coming out of that plant for in terms of, let us say, some sewerage or some effluent that was being done something internally and used inside, but we did not know what is that being done. So we used to observe, because one of the important part was that you need to know the process and the manufacturing process, whether the or the business process of any particular customer, so that you can align your product and solutions, and then you can map it well, and then that is how you are going to get success. Because the customer, when they see between three competitors approaching them, who is able to correlate better, can understand the process of manufacturing or their business better, and can tailor make the solution accordingly. Now the sustainability, we did not know what is sustainability, frankly, let me tell you, till then. But we were talking about how energy efficient product can be given. Now what is that energy efficiency? So if I save some electricity, if there is a low power loss, if I can automate their manufacturing process better compared to somebody else, and can save wastage in the process for their raw material, or production can be increased. So all these things were not only resulting into profitability, but also resulting into various aspects of ESG or the sustainability, let us say, and the CSR activity that we saw. ESG being the social element. So how we are connecting with our nearby society, how we are taking care of their need, and not only focusing on our own profitability or our own organizational goals. So all these things somehow, unknowingly, directly, indirectly, we got exposed early part of career, and how we could correlate, because one of the very important point is being a very good observator. So you have to observe, and this is what also we were taught and we learned, that you observe everything minutely. It may not look like very important, but this is how it has helped us a lot. So during these 3 years of my 3.5 years of my leadership position in Northern India, I mentioned about textile, paper plants, sugar mills, and likewise some cement plants in Rajasthan. Again, Rajasthan also, there were a lot of textile mills. So we could grow the business stupendously. And based on this growth, new offices were created in Northern India. So till then, only regional office was there, and other people were operating from their residences as territory manager. Now, a new office was created in Lucknow for Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and part of MP. Unfortunately, the economy had started tapering down. So this I am talking about 2007. Okay. Now nobody was willing to take up that challenge. That new office created, and then it has its own target. Obviously, if a new office is made, new infrastructure is created, some new team members are added, so you have a larger target to achieve. And how to cope up with this challenge, again, to set up a new business. So within a matured business, a new business, you know. Now, when nobody was willing, so I accepted this challenge, and I went to Lucknow to head that particular office for the ND business. And in those most difficult 2 years when the economy was not supporting us, the biggest achievement was that we could survive that office. And how that was, within those 2 years also we achieved almost not very good but 5% of growth every year. And that was appreciated by management, because when out of 20 plus offices, almost everybody was flat or some degrowth was there in some of the branch offices. This one, the most youngest office in the Siemens Limited in A&D business, automation drives, was growing by 5%. Now, by 2009, I had completed 10 years, and now I had very good exposure, and I had learned many things within this business. However, I was craving for something more, and what could I do? So now then, I requested my management, and I was interviewed for the corporate planning department, which was later renamed as corporate strategy and business excellence. And I was selected. So that is how I went into strategy business function at the headquarters of Siemens Limited in Mumbai. And in this strategy, we had the good fortune of working on three major topics: uh, merger and acquisitions, some special projects under the merger and acquisition. Then we had the what we used to call it top-down business estimation for different divisions of Siemens, because Siemens is a wide conglomerate having products like a small fuse and going up to power plants. So we worked on the top-down market estimation, made the short-term, medium-term, and long-term business uh, directions along with the business divisions, and these plans were frozen under the guidance of the managing director and the CFO of the organization. Now, this particular aspect that I mentioned briefly, I will touch upon what all it involved was, right from the market size up to the cash flow. Now, in between, the different other steps are, so once you decide the, let us take for example one particular healthcare equipment. Now Siemens was into healthcare business also. So if I take one particular product of X-ray or CT scan, what is the market size of X-ray or CT scan? Who are the competitors? How much business is being done by Siemens? What are our competitor market share? Now, what is our short-term plan? So 1 to 5 year plan. How do we achieve them? So if there is a growth, if we want to increase our market share, what should be done on the product front? Do we need to bring in some new product, or do we need to make the existing product smarter to meet the market requirement and fight the competition, benchmarking with the competitor product? And then what are the resources required across various functions like quality, manufacturing, R&D, sales and marketing, project management, or commercials? And finally, based on all this, what is going to be the financial performance parameters? So order value, sales, then your EBIT, and finally EVA up to EVA, and including the cash flow. Now, this particular exercise was done in great depth using some external tools also, both qualitative and quantitative. For example, for quantitative, where you have to assess the top-down market size in, for example, this healthcare segment I took as an example. You need to have the investment that are going to come into that sector. And now out of that investment, how much is going to be relevant for that particular Siemens business division? In order to arrive at that linkage factor, so if let us say there is a healthcare investment of 1,000 crores in a particular year, but how much would be that equipment which Siemens can participate? So there is a study done with the consultant, external study, to find out that linkage, whether it is 5% of 1,000 crore or 7% or 10%. Then the market size is estimated. So we also used to work with CMI, use their database, how much investment is coming here in India across different sectors like metals, pulp and paper, oil and gas, refineries. So all these segments were ultimately the user of one or the other electrical and electronic products of the Siemens Limited. So that business estimation was done, and based on that, the complete strategy was made. Second activity was competitor study. We used to do the mapping of the competitors in different businesses, whether it is healthcare or power generation or transmission and distribution space, or the automation and drives business. There was also a project business, and then railway mobility business was there. So all these competitors were studied by the strategy persons, and there were 2, 3 senior people working from the business side after the proper selection process in the strategy department and covering these aspects. In merger and acquisitions, so I worked on 3 projects. So one was the water and wastewater business strategy implementation in India. There was one business acquired globally by Siemens, and that business strategy for India was made to launch that particular water and wastewater business here in India. So I worked as a program manager, implementation manager for that strategy. Again, uh, some time back, I told you this had various elements. So right from what product technologies have to come here in India, for that, what are the resources required here in India? What is the inquiry bank? Different market segment across like municipal or industrial, all those kind of business segments, and how the sales is going to be converted. So all these things were monitored over a regular period of time, and then made sure that all things are going on track. And there was a steering committee meeting which used to take place under the guidance of CEO of Siemens Limited and the global business heads, because Siemens had this particular business headquartered in USA and all other businesses were headquartered in Germany. So now, while working in the strategy department, the we had the opportunity either to go back to the parent business, or if our work was liked, we could be hired by the new businesses. Now, I was fortunate that I had 2 more opportunities. One was in water and wastewater business, and another was in smart grid. So we also worked in the area of smart grid. I will cover briefly, and I will also correlate with IoT. What you see here, we are talking about IoT. So I'm talking about 2009 to 11 period of my strategy experience. So we wanted to work into the space of smart metering and communication, being a part of a smart grid business. Now, this particular smart metering and communication, it has got 2 elements. A smart meter is nothing but what we see electricity meters as of today. They are basically dumb device. Now, what we wanted at that point of time was that all the electricity meter data could be read from the electricity meter. So you need certain sensors and some communication technology. And then that data has to be brought to a central location at a server. And then it has to be converted into computer readable language. And then data which has come on real-time basis, it is being accessed through millions of meters. How to make use of this? By using certain softwares. Now, there could be various uses of that. So simplest form could be billing, like we receive bill for our electricity consumption. So the data billing determinants will be taken and it can be used. And there are various other uses. So when I come to the next question, I will cover in more detail. So I opted for this smart meeting and communication business. Communication, other solutions were power line carrier communication and fiber optic terminal equipment businesses. And that is how I moved from a strategy to this new business, working as a P&L head across India and for South Asia for the smart metering and communication business. Along with this, I had the role of strategy for my business unit, and also making sure that the annual sales targets were achieved for the business unit. So in a business unit, we had 3 business segments. So one business segment, P&L head of a smart metering and communication, strategy head of the business unit, and the overall business unit sales targets to be achieved. So that was monitored by me from the business unit side. Because here the sales organization was separate. It was a common sales organization taking care of different product and solutions cutting across different business units. So it is like you have to make sure that your particular business unit's targets are also achieved. So alignment with sales team was very important, and periodical review, providing them support in terms of technical knowledge, know-how, pricing, technical seminars to be done at the customer premises, how the strategy has to be done, product management, business development activity. So all these supports were provided from the business unit side. Now, in this strategy function, the best part was that I had the helicopter's view of how one large organization like Siemens works. So it's a large organization, at the same time, different business units, and further broken down into business segments. Then there's a common sales structure for certain business units. So it was a very good experience of last 2 years of 2009 to 11. And within that short time, I could grasp various elements of a business, that how a business strategy has to be made for a matured business, for a new business, and a technology business. So, for example, this smart metering and communication was a new technology business, which was not heard of at that point of time in 2009-10. Okay. And there was also a matured business like water and wastewater, because that was a highly matured business. There were competitors working in this space here in India, but Siemens had just launched it here in India. And erstwhile automation drives business that I mentioned, low voltage switchgear motors drives PLC, that was also a matured business. So based on this, I worked for close to 3 years in that smart metering and communication business. Now here some of the highlights were that it had got three elements, as I said. The physical product, that is electricity meter, communication device, and then the software. And then harmonious integration of these three elements, making sure that the whole system works and you have a solution ready to take care of the power sector need, especially in distribution sector. Now, what I realized was that basically India was not ready. So what we as an organization had to do was to put all the elements in one place to have the complete solution, integrated solution ready. Okay. And also map it with the distribution sector, electricity distribution company requirements and the other industrial requirements to achieve the aggregate technical and commercial loss reduction. That was one of the major criteria. So, for example, in simple language, electricity measures the electricity meter is measuring the consumption of electricity, whether by a retail consumer like us in our home, or any commercial building, or a industry, or it could be any other large user like any IT park or IT SEZ, etc. But there are various losses. How do we fill the gap of, let us say, X amount of electricity being supplied and only Y amount of being realized in terms of revenue? So X minus Y, how to fill this gap? Where is the gap? How do we realize the revenue, increase the revenue, and offer the best services to the consumers? So this was possible by this smart metering solution, and the softwares were providing various other analytical tool and also providing a very good user experience. Why? Because as a consumer, I could also know that, okay, what time of the day there is going to be a shutdown of the electricity. So can I plan my loads accordingly? Now, slowly, already there is a time of day use of tariff being applied here in India and industries. Slowly, it will come in residential sector also. So all this information, I can make payment online. I can, the meters can be connected and disconnected remotely. So all that possibilities are there. So it is a very good thing for consumer also. Now, in this formative year of 2011 to 2014, what we did was we worked closely with the regulators, because there were no standards for smart meters. There was no smart meter as such a product. It was only a electrical meter, electronic device. Then communication device was to be added. So during these 3 years, we worked on making sure that regulators were able to grasp our inputs as well, and we could create the level playing field. And then as far as the software is concerned, meter data management software, we could place our specification with various distribution companies, so that whenever there are going to be tenders and requirements for this smart metering solutions, Siemens does not lose out. when I left Siemens, so just to close this particular point, finally the smart meter came somewhere around maybe 2017-18 somewhere. I may not remember the exact year, but it took almost 7-8 years to get the Bureau of Indian Standard and Indian standards ready for a smart meter. And based on that, the manufacturers had to manufacture smart meters. Then there was a standard for software also, what functionalities are required. So we could contribute from Siemens side during those 3 years, and made Siemens in inviable position that as and when the business flourishes, we are ready to take our flesh of share. Now, I was working in this space, and we also worked with, as I said, power line carrier communication equipments and fiber optic terminal equipments. So the biggest challenging part was that Siemens had many businesses, and we were doing very good top line. But this particular business was nascent, new technology business. How to keep the interest of management also glowing, and team, how they should remain activated, engaged, not lose hope, because there was no revenue stream. It was minimal. So that was very challenging task. So we worked on various aspects of creating various technical documents, both for internal as well as for external customers like our distribution companies, so that there is a platform created and our team also remains engaged and they should value. So there were different solution architectures were also created, that ultimately how AMI solution should be. So AMI is another name of the smart metering solution. So advanced metering infrastructure. So our team could develop various such technical solutions, various technical circulars, and technical details were made, and they could gain a lot of knowledge. And we could also convince management that yes, we are on the right track, and there was a good support by management, and they also acknowledged. We could also work for certain out of India projects and supported our headquarters on such technical matters using the Indian resources. Within a matured organization, how do I handle a new business and new technology business? That was my first real experience within Siemens. And that really gave me another strength that yes, I can work in a totally new business setup, how a new business setup should be started, what all the ingredients that are required for a new business setup. All those things I learned during those 3 challenging years. And I'm happy to share with you that that has helped me for another these last 10 years since 2014 that I have been working outside Siemens. All those learnings that I have had over there, whether for mature business or the new business or the new technology business, I would also call it a startup business. And I could use all those learnings very well in last 10 years. Now, uh, I was getting a very good opportunity to work in the smart city business. Now that smart city was having following elements. So still many smart city or smart community projects are going on in different ways. So it will have, let us say, electrical. So electrical sector could be one of the focus areas. Then it could be transportation, water and wastewater, healthcare, and then there could be a command center and various user services by using the different apps, web accesses being given to the users. So for example, in a city, you can open your app and see which bus number is going to come at what time at this particular stop. Okay. So you can go at that particular stop and wait for the bus and board it. And you can also book the ticket online. So for example, there is a health center. Now that hospital, I need to see, can I get appointment of the doctor at particular time? So, so again, what are the elements? There is a physical infrastructure, that hospital, and then you have how the data is transmitted. You need certain communication devices, and then there is a software. So all these 3 elements were integrated, and a smart city or a smart community concept was created by making different elements of that city or that geography smart using these three technologies, and then giving the interface to the consumer or the user. So till 2014, my scope was limited first to the electrical products, some electronic products, and then the software elements came, the communication came, but it was all into electrical and electronic sphere. I did not have the whole smart community thing coming my way. And that is how I joined this Toshiba India Private Limited as a smart community business head, and also taking care of new business strategy and the key account management of certain products like elevators, escalators, heating, ventilation, air conditioning products, building energy management systems, transformers, and water and wastewater solutions. So, and they also had the smart metering business, AMI, but major focus was on HVAC, elevators, water and wastewater, and transformers. So this was the key account management pan India with certain identified customers. And the smart community business was one large project we were working on to create a gas-based power plants having storage battery energy system, optical fiber communication network, smart metering solutions, and the heat that is getting generated in the process being supplied to the industrial as well as residential consumers. So during these 5 years, some of the major achievements were that we could do a growth of more than 500% in the business. And Toshiba was known as a consumer brand till then in India. So TV, laptop, and this, that. So, but they did not realize that TV, laptop is hardly 5 to 7% of the total business out of 43 billion US dollar size of the Toshiba globally. So we could talk about and explain to the customers about various solutions like elevators, air conditioning, building energy management system, your transformers, water and wastewater treatment solutions, and we could convert many customers into our fold as a key account. That was my responsibility. Again, here, a very big challenge was working with different legal entities, because in Toshiba, all the businesses of elevator, air conditioning, and others were being done through separate legal entities, while I was in the corporate company. So you have to manage, it's a very complex structure. So customer at one side, and then it is not the same company. These are different legal entities, and then your Japanese headquarters. So that also taught, and totally different cultural experience coming from German experience, and daily working with Britishers and Americans. Now you have to work with Japanese colleagues. So it was a very good, refreshing experience, and we had to. It was kind of total 180-degree shift in the approach. Okay, so here till the time there is a agreement on by every team member on a particular point, things will not move. So this is how it was a very good experience, both business wise, personal growth, and we could create some major successes. We worked on one uh, particular new business of building an energy management system solutions, where we wanted to acquire one Indian system integrator to launch this business here in India. So now after this, now you see all this matured business experience, startup business experience, new technology business experience, all they were getting utilized so far. And then I was getting this very challenging assignment of starting a new business of project in Orient Electric Limited for their domestic switchgear and modular switches socket business, and key account management of fan, lighting products, and some appliances across India on selected basis. So I worked for close to 3 years in Orient Electric Limited to set up the new business of project business in the switchgear and wiring accessories business unit. So there were primarily a few functions that I led. One was as sales head, then business development, product management, and we also had to start from scratch So we recruited people across various functions and appointed channel partners. We made success, and today Orient is doing well in the switchgear and wiring accessories business unit. Now, if you see till 2022 May, now the important elements were that here I have worked in sales and marketing, business development, strategy, merger and acquisitions, general management roles, leadership role, operations, CRM, and various other functionalities. The kind of customer segments that we covered were both in public sector as well as private sector. Name any sector, whether metal, food, oil and gas, refinery, pharmaceuticals, large institutions, buildings, airport, metro, railways, B2B or B2C, channel management. So it's a very rounded experience I was fortunate to get over last 27 years, and across diverse product ranges, across diverse geographies here in India and also globally. So worked with Americans, Britishers, as I mentioned, Germans, Japanese, Southeast Asian colleagues, and South Asia business was also handled. So we had exposure of Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. I have touched upon almost every business aspect, let us accept R&D or manufacturing, and to some extent quality. But while working as a P&L head or in a strategy function or as a product management guy, we were also exposed to different elements of R&D, manufacturing, and quality. So this is where I bring value to any in my role of as a whether it is corporate governance. So again, corporate governance till early part of career we did not realize what is corporate governance. So but if I correlate back when we were working as a either sales head of Northern India or in later on in Toshiba or later in Orient Electric, we are dealing with various people. Our aim was to maximize the business for our organization. But at the same time, we also had to take care of the other stakeholders. So our other stakeholders were our channel partners, our customers, our vendors. Okay. Although we were not expected to take care of the shareholders in our role, but indirectly, if we are taking care of our business aspects, our shareholder roles, interests can be taken care. But all the other stakeholders like society, vendors, customers, these stakeholders we were managing quite well. So we were meeting their expectation also and ensuring that there is a transparency, there is compliance aspect being taken care, which was one very important element, because any project or any business being done with our customers or dealing with any vendor partners, because in a solution you can't have everything from your own organization, you have to have tie up with various external partners. So this compliance, governance, taking care of their interests, making sure that we do not miss out any aspect, all these things also came quite handy as an experience. And now in last 5-6 years we realize that what corporate governance is. So now we are able to do better because we already had these elements ingrained right from the beginning in different business processes. So as I mentioned, it was only question of being a quick observer and a very keen observer. So all that has helped so far, and this has really kept me in good stead. And for last 1.5 years, I'm working as Vice President Business Development, taking care of complete wire and cable portfolio of KEI Industries Limited. And it's a really very good experience. Customer set remains the same, but the role and responsibility and dynamics being different of this particular industry, it is quite a good, rich learning experience. So this is it's a little long conversation, but
Yes,
I want to explain each and every part of my work experience so far and the salient highlights that I could achieve in my career.
so your expertise spans a wide range of domains from general management strategy, M&A, product management, channel management, startup business, new technology business, smart city, operation excellence, CRM, sales, business development, pan India and abroad, covering diverse product range and solutions. Could you elaborate on your experience in these areas and share specific examples of how you've successfully contributed to the growth of the business?
So you rightly mentioned in last 30 minutes or so, I've touched upon each and every element. So
Yes.
I mentioned about M&A. So we worked on three particular businesses while being in strategy and in the space of large size alternators for the power plant requirement, then water and wastewater business strategy implementation here in India, which was done successfully, and then the smart metering business, which finally I went into. So these were the three successful areas, and we could establish those businesses very well within Siemens. So, and other success stories I have already shared with you.
Yes.
So I'm sure that you'll be able to take out the relevant portions out of that and use it appropriately.
Correct. So, one question I would like to ask is that given the intricate and cross-functional nature of your job role, is there any standard method or practice that you deploy across all facets?
Very, very good question. So some of the things that come to my mind, initially we could not realize that, but so one is being organized,
Okay.
following these systems, processes, first understanding the business. Each business has different dynamics. So it could also be with the product and the solution, and see the commonality and then proceed. So I have consistently followed this approach, irrespective of being in the same business but different geography, individual contributor role, and then a supervisory role, then moving into different business or a different organization. So this particular process I have consistently followed, and it has been really helpful so far.
So, how and when did you develop an interest in ESG, sustainability, corporate governance, and what values would you say you bring to the table the most?
Yeah. So we spoke about this. So while working over last 27 years, especially in initial 20 years or so, we could I was exposed to different elements of sustainability, social aspects, environment, because we were focusing on products which were environment friendly. So for example,
Hmm.
lead free components were used. Okay, energy consumption was reduced so that the greenhouse gas emission can be reduced. Thermal power consumption requirement could be brought down by using the smart metering business, you know, which is so this came quite early in part of our career. The so that is where the ESG element, environment, social, and governance. Now, governance I'll correlate with corporate governance also. So when we were dealing on different kind of products and solutions, working with different stakeholders, it was very important to manage all the stakeholders' expectation. Okay, and not only keeping the organizational profit as the primary goal. Now, this is where these corporate governance fine nuances helped us to understand, and as a business leader, as a P&L holder, as a branch head, or as a northern region head, or in my business segment role, or in Toshiba role, we had a lot of opportunities to work in these areas, and we have consistently taken care of these aspects. And my experience of working across the organizations, across different functions, keeps me in good stead to add value to any corporate governance aspect for any of the companies where I aspire to become independent director.
So, what are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field with changes in technology, and what changes do you expect to see with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, Web 3.0?
So, as I was mentioning, the technology has been the constant changing thing. So, when I was working in Siemens Limited in switchgear product, it was not expected. Somewhere in 2004-5, we realized there is a communication technology in the product like air circuit breaker. Now, what was that communication technology, communication module they used to call it? We never realized. So we realized that now the electricity data of that communication circuit breaker, its fault status, everything can be brought using that communication module to a central server, and you can not only see the health of that particular equipment, you can also see the fault status, you can also see the electricity consumption. And if there are thousands of air circuit breakers or thousands of washing machines or thousands of fans where sensors are there, communication devices are there, their data is coming to us, we can see the electricity consumption pattern. Based on that, we can also devise our electric substation design, and we can also see whether my electric substation transformer is going to face any problem during what day of the time. And then based on that, I can take corrective action and inform my users that can you please reduce your load, because once the electric substation is put under stress, there is going to be a longer fault and problem for the consumers. So the many technologies have been coming, so including IoT. Now IoT, Internet of Things, I use it widely within smart metering business. That was perfect example. Now it is used in fans, lightings, air conditioners. So all air conditioners installed, you can have the data continuously coming, and now you can make various uses. So what we also say, predictive maintenance. So you can predict when, as and when there is going to be a fault in that
Yeah.
particular air conditioner or your electrical circuit breaker or your transformer. So there is a concept like integrated substation condition monitoring. This substation in simple language is where you have the transformers, switchgear, and where from one side power is coming, and then other side it is going to feed a big, large geographical area. So this is your kind of heart. So you can monitor remotely the health of each and every equipment. So if the life is, let us say, 10,000 hours, you know that it is now nearing 9,000 hours, a message will come in the system that please take care. So do the predictive maintenance. So the technology, I have seen a lot of change in 2005, communication element coming in, software coming in, because data was coming, but how to make use of the data? You know certain softwares. You should have the software to do the various usage applications. Like I described some of the applications. Now, IoT in real sense has really taken a big leap in last 10 years or so. I was mentioning about the smart metering when nobody knew what is AMI in the year 2009-11, and it took 8-9 years to get the smart meter specification and real product developed. And software was in any case existing. So it is going to be further used in different applications. Now, other technologies like artificial intelligence or machine learning is nothing but a subset of artificial intelligence. This blockchain, now this blockchain database was existing earlier also. Now, what this blockchain has done is that it is kind of maintaining the sanctity of the data that is coming. So because it is connecting, so you have blocks, and those blocks are linked in a chain. So for example, if you are I'm the consumer, I'm making some payment to Tanay. Now, I do not know whether payment is acknowledged by Tanay or not, and Tanay can also say that CP Singh has made the payment or not. Using this blockchain technology, a third party software will be there, and real time transaction will happen. Now the data sanctity and continuity is also maintained. Nobody can have doubt. You can't create any problem in between, neither you or nor me. So that is the advantage of blockchain. It can be used in various applications, whether finance or engineering or manufacturing or electricity, any sector. AI is very useful. Now we are hearing a lot of applications. So here, how a computer or a machine can think like human. That is what basically we are trying to do through AI. It has got its own pitfalls also. But my thought process always has been that technology has to be taken in a positive way. That how best it can be used instead of only focusing on the negatives. So likewise, we are talking about Web3, although it's a relatively new concept and is still evolving, but it is nothing but the extension of what currently we have World Wide Web. And now here a different user experience can be there where all kind of integration can be done for the users. So I'm quite optimistic and very positive, and in fact very enthralled that all these new technologies are coming up, and they are going to create humongous business opportunities. But very important part is that the organizations also need to evolve and should have the domain expertise across these various new technologies that are coming in, and that awareness program. This is one very important point I would like to touch upon. The challenge was that you can bring in any technology, but till the time the awareness program is there for the users and the other stakeholders, no technology will succeed. So that reach out program is very, very crucial.
So, as you know, we're building a community here of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. What are your thoughts about this initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
So, in fact, I was very happy when first I came to know about this particular initiative because you see, the people have got different capabilities, skills, expertise, but how to channelize them and how to bring it at one platform and create a right platform so that you have the resources and expertise available to the outside stakeholders also. So when I got associated with WDC, this Independent Director Program and ESG program, I was thinking of it long back, but I did not find the time, or I did not have the time or the proper guidance as to how should we proceed. So this way, this is a very remarkable initiative, and in the right direction by both Jishan Pathan and Heval Mehta. And I think they should continue taking it forward and also create a forum wherein these certified independent directors and ESG experts can exchange their ideas, thought processes, and take it forward, and also make it a part of, to interaction with the regulatory authorities here in India. So that is very crucial. There should be a kind of working group of the private body as well as with the government body, so that the idea of the industry can be communicated to the regulatory authorities here in India. A right framework can be created later on.
Great, sir. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will greatly inspire future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today and wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute has unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Tanen. Thank you very much for your time, and it was great experience.
Have a great day, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.